I'm just here really to introduce my colleague James, but like a bad wedding speech, I'm going to spend a few more minutes talking before I hand over to James, and just to get to know you all a little bit better. So firstly, why are we here? We're here because of climate change. We're here because we are all collectively aware that there is an emergency, and we need to think of ways that we can help fix that emergency by investing in both new technologies and old technologies to help abate climate change. So innovation is a key part of effectively that transition journey. Innovation isn't in and of itself the only solution, right? We can't just rely on the innovation fairy to fix everything. We need to have innovation and investment. We also need to invest in old technologies, existing technologies, which can help reduce our impact on the climate. So I think today, if you can take anything away, it would be the importance and the urgency of investment. And I think the industry forum is critical because you are all key players in helping drive that change, helping drive that investment. So in terms of the day ahead, we've got a really exciting agenda for you. I think if I was just to signpost a few of the key highlights of the day that I'm really looking forward to. So firstly, we've got Angela coming on after James. She's talking about the importance of collaboration, especially collaboration in R&D. I think that's really, really important because we all own climate change. We all own the emergency. If you're empowered to change something, if you're empowered to fix something, then you're obligated to do so. And actually, working together is the best way of making it happen. So Angela's going to be talking to us about collaboration, and I think it's incredibly important that we listen very carefully to that. We're going to have a great session on the clusters and carbon capture. I think carbon capture is amazing technology, proven technology that can make a real difference. And actually, at Santander, we've been spending a lot of time investing in our advisory work on these new carbon capture projects, especially here in the UK. And so I'd encourage you to attend that session, because we're sort of competing with an enormous event here. And then the last event, which I think is really important, is the greenwashing event. The greenwashing could be a disease on what we're trying to do. So I think everyone in this audience, we really believe in the importance of combating climate change. There are some people who are there to make money. This is more than business. This is a human obligation. We have a planetary obligation. And so greenwashing is people who are on the wrong side of history. And so having some rigor around how we approach that topic, I think, is super important. So my key role here isn't to talk about Santander, and it's not to talk about the event today, it's actually to talk about James. So James is one of my executive directors in my team. I've got a team of 50 people, as I said, focusing on investment in this area. James joined the bank around 5 years ago. He has been at the forefront of our investment and our advisory work on both hydrogen, on carbon capture, on batteries. He has so much energy and enthusiasm to bring. So I'd encourage you all to, if you get the opportunity, to have a word with James as we go through the day. If you want to just sort of add to your battery of energy and add to your battery of enthusiasm around this topic, then James is the person to speak to. So with that, I'll hand over to James. Thank you all for attending. Thank you for being on time. Everyone gets a sort of gold star for turning up for the first session, and enjoy the day. Thank you.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? This is indeed quite strange when you're talking to a room, but you're not talking as loudly as you would be. So very nice to meet you all. I'm James Foley, as Bart introduced. I'm a director at Santander's energy structured finance business. And I started my eco journey when I was 8 in my primary school's eco club. I then managed to study a degree in environmental policy with economics. And since then, I've spent the last 11 years in helping to finance energy and energy transition projects. So I'm not going to take too much time as we've got to get on with the agenda, but I'm going to chair this day until about the halfway point, at which point I'll hand over to the afternoon's chair. But I was going to just make 3 key observations just to set the scene a little bit. So one is that we can reach net zero, but we need to do more. 2 is that the UK has time and again been a leader, and we have the opportunity to stay a global leader in this field. And 3, given this is the industry forum, industry is right at the heart of that story. So the UK's headline target is to reach net zero by 2050, but also we have a 2030 target to reduce emissions 68% from 1990 levels. Depending on where you read in the sources, you can make your own views as to whether that's likely to happen. Clearly, we've seen Scotland already admit that it's probably unlikely or not possible to reach its target. So this is very much in the focus for us today. Secondly, with the UK's leadership, from the finance world, we've seen how government frameworks can really enable private investment to come in and help to get projects built. China's only just overtaken the UK for offshore wind. That's because the UK CFD regime has been such a success. We've got new models for hydrogen. Government's just come out with sustainable aviation fuels and greenhouse gas removals frameworks. And most relevant for this audience today is the carbon capture business model. And we'll talk a lot about the Track 1 clusters today, which are obviously on track to be taking FID by the end of this year. So this is very much a space where the UK is a leader and has a space to continue its global leadership. And third was that industry is right at the core of that strategy and that story. So in 2022, according to the ONS, 14% of the UK's emissions were from industry. But that number has actually been declining a lot. Since 1990, we've had a big decline. But a lot of that's because of offshoring of industry. And what we need is to keep the UK very much competitive internationally, but still delivering green products. We should not compensate on our international competitiveness. So it's very important that it goes hand in hand with the UK's economic power alongside the decarbonisation agenda. So we're going to hear from all sorts of stakeholders today, everything from R&D space to industry players in manufacturing, steel, cement, etc. And everyone has to come together to make this work. So with that, I'm very pleased to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Angela Naff, who is going to come up on stage now, and she's presenting on the value of research and development collaboration. So if you can join me in offering a big hand for Angela.